A recent study by Johnson & Johnson found that getting a booster shot of their vaccine increases antibody levels. Two studies conducted in the U.S. and Europe on some 2,000 people indicates a 9-fold increase in antibody levels according to the company. Neither of the studies looked at real-world efficacy, so there's no proof that those getting boosters are less likely to become infected. Here to discuss the recent FDA approval of the Pfizer vaccine and booster shots for Johnson & Johnson is Dr. Eustace Fernandez, a pulmonologist in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Dr. Fernandez, thank you for being with us. You just got off work from treating COVID patients in the COVID unit in your hospital. What are you seeing on the front lines right now?
Well, what we're seeing is a time of great sadness. We see a lot of admissions to the hospital, a lot of them to the intensive care unit. Upwards of 90% of those admitted to our hospital are patients who have never had COVID before and have not been vaccinated. So these are the previously uninfected and unvaccinated individuals who are admitted to the hospital. We're seeing younger patients, and we're still seeing profound levels of illness, despite being a little bit better a year later at treating this illness.
And is this due to the COVID variant?
It is. So you have in the Delta variant, as it's called, a bug that is a virus that is almost as infectious as chickenpox. So early on in the pandemic, we had this choice. You know, we said you could either get vaccinated, you could avoid COVID, or you could get COVID and get really sick with it. Now we're at a point, because Delta is so infectious, your choices are to get vaccinated, maybe get infected and have mild disease, or get infected. That option of not getting COVID, I don't believe is a realistic possibility any longer.
So then what does the FDA approval of the Pfizer vaccine actually change?
Well, I think in the sense that it might encourage people who are hesitant to consider getting a vaccine and completing the Pfizer series, I think it gives a boost in that sense. I think that this is a vaccine that has been rigorously tested and has probably been scrutinized more than any vaccine in the history of vaccines as being safe, efficacious, and made with good quality and reliability. It's been shown to be very potently defensive to the human body against the Delta variant. So again, in the age of Delta, it becomes a good option.
Does the FDA approval mean that we'll likely see more employer and city or state level vaccine mandates?
I think that under an emergency use authorization, it was very hard to justify a mandate. Now that you have FDA approval for adults, it is reasonable. I mean, you think about other occupations we have where measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, other vaccines are required to be able to work in certain places, and it becomes a reasonable mandate with FDA approval.
And so then what about the exemptions for people who have concerns, religious concerns or medical concerns? I'm sure that you've seen patients who wouldn't be eligible for the vaccine.
Absolutely. And so if there's a medical exemption, there's a medical exemption, and we should be respectful of that. The Congregation for Doctrine and Faith, as well as the National Catholic Bioethics Center and other organizations, have upheld the right for people to have abstention from vaccination on the basis of conscience, and that's reasonable. However, if one is to invoke conscience, they have to take other measures to protect others, and that means doing things like social distancing, continuing to mask, and in some cases, like in my environment, in the healthcare environment, you're dealing with vulnerable people all day long, and it might mean that you choose a job that doesn't put you in close contact with a vulnerable individual, because this Delta variant is just that transmissible. There is not a reasonable way to protect your fellow brother or sister without vaccination.
Let's get into that transmission, because there have been various reports of immunity from the vaccine dipping over time. What can you tell us about this?
Well, we do know that antibody levels, like with all vaccines, our level of protection dips over time, and that's a reality of all vaccines, not just the COVID vaccine. You think about something like tetanus, where periodically we go and we get a booster for our tetanus shot, and other vaccines such as that. But over time, we know that antibody response, which is just one aspect of our immune system, dips over time, and that may mean that you become more vulnerable to infection over time. We know in certain populations, certain high-risk populations, they certainly will become more vulnerable over time, and we're talking about patients who have received transplants or patients who are on chemotherapy or other special conditions. We know that those individuals will benefit from a booster.
And so then is that something we're going to encourage or see more encouragement from doctors? Is this help for immunity through booster shots?
Well, I think we have to weigh this very carefully because the risk calculation for someone who is 80 and is on chemotherapy and their risk is going to be different than an 18-year-old who's otherwise healthy. So a booster might benefit that 18-year-old far less than the 80-year-old. We also, as a matter of justice, have to look at areas of the world that are far, far, far under-vaccinated, places that are somewhere between 2 and 10%. We have to understand that a lot of the variants rise from these under-vaccinated areas of the world, and that maybe our priority as a matter of justice should be to encourage vaccination and supply vaccines to these areas that are more desperately in need.
Weighing all of those factors, the waning immunity, those areas of the world that have not been able to have access to vaccines or just aren't thinking about the protocol here, what are your recommendations on masking and social distancing with the Delta variant showing breakthrough infections in those vaccinated?
Well, the rate of breakthrough infections is still very low. However, everybody has to use their own judgment. By all means, stay home if you're sick. Get tested if you have symptoms of COVID-19. Continue to exhibit good hand hygiene. Indoor masking when you're in a crowded space where you can't distance is probably a good idea. And continuing to just be as wise and prudent as we can be with this highly infectious condition, particularly if you have a vulnerable medical condition.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fernandez. We'll be watching this carefully and praying for you and what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.